how I got a record deal as an independent artist. I figured that having a struggle and sharing my story of how I overcame it would be relatable, so here goes nothing. By the way, if you're new to my channel, my name is Dylan and I am a New York City based YouTuber. I make videos that concern personal growth and career development and pretty much anything in between. So if you're new and you enjoy the content, go ahead and subscribe. Without further ado, why don't we just jump in? So I'm going to talk a little bit about the context first. I have been a musician pretty much my whole entire life. I picked up the guitar at a very early age. I was in bands in high school and in college, and I ran a record label in college as well. So the interest was always there. It wasn't until the pandemic that I decided to start putting my music out there to the world. My first project was called Me and Mauve, and it was this indie dance project. Honestly, I was just getting really familiar with like mixing and working with stems and working in a DAW like Ableton. I was trying my best and I was learning as I went. I wasn't so much focused on the production and all these different things. Frankly, the mixing wasn't totally there. The album art was a little bit weird, like the colors that I picked. Again, I really just learned a lot from the experience and I'm very grateful for it. The project didn't really go anywhere. Also, at the time I was pretty broke. I was in between careers, making a career pivot, and I didn't really have financial means to market the music myself. I also didn't think that the quality of the music and the project was quite there to be able to get a record deal. So it just wasn't something that I really fished out, but I thought that it would have been really cool to have done that as I struggled to get streams independently. 3 years had went by with my previous project, so I knew that I wanted a fresh start. So summer of 2023, I launched a dance music project, completely different project, and I started out mostly with just DJing, and then by early 2024 I started to make music that I would eventually put out under this new project. So around the spring of 2024 I was surfing around through Splice and I found these stems that I absolutely fell in love with. And you know when you just strike gold on a song and you're like, this is amazing, like I'm in love with this and I have to put it out? That's what the process of making this song was like for me. I knew that it would have to go out there to the universe so that other people could listen to this. Whether they liked it or not, I wasn't so concerned with, but I was pretty confident that other people were going to like it. So all in all, the process of getting this song from 0 to 100, from nothing to fully mixed, basically, it took me probably like 5 or 6 days. So I finished the final mix and I began emailing and messaging record labels. My strategy was a little bit different. I know a lot of people use platforms like Label Radar. I see this as a waste of money and a way to further just kick the can down the road. I kind of think it's a waste of time. So what I did was I just went on Spotify and looked at all of the artists who I admire, all of their past work from like 5 to 10 years ago when they were much smaller. And I compiled a list of all of those record labels to which they had first signed to. Most of them were independent record labels. And then I just scoured the internet and social media for their A&R and demo contacts. I compiled all that information into a Google Sheet and then boom, I was off to the races. Just emailing A&Rs. Nothing like the old-fashioned way, baby. And here's what I normally put in the emails and the messages. It was just plain and simple. The reason why we want to keep it short and sweet and stupid and simple is because we have to assume that most of these A&Rs and the folks who are fielding through demos are getting like hundreds, if not thousands of demo submissions per day. So they have limited time to review. So we want to keep it concise and package the song up so that it's super easy for them to access it and listen to it and make a fair judgment, hopefully. So after a few days of me shooting out messages to these labels, I actually got a few responses. One offered me a free download edit. This label was actually concerned about copyright via Splice, which I totally understand. Splice says that it's 100% royalty-free platform for all of their samples, but some people don't totally believe in that. So with that free download edit offer, I ended up actually getting interest from another label a few days later who I was actually more interested in working with because they had worked with an artist who I really admire. So I thought it'd be really cool to be signed to the same label that that artist was, especially because I had seen him live last year. So it was like, whoa, this is cool. Maybe I'm following in some footsteps here. Although this label was super interested, they had some reservations. Because I was using a royalty-free stem, they made the case that because those stems are part of a royalty-free library like Splice, they can be and probably will be used by so many different different artists, and labels ideally want to have a unique repertoire of music that sounds different from every other label, right? So I totally understood that. They had some questions about the stems, and they wanted to make sure that they were cleared copyright-wise via Splice. I was super transparent the whole entire way through, because why would I not be? There's nothing for me to hide throughout the whole entire process. I use stems off of Splice. Here are the stems. Go check them out as you please. After all, it's a potential partnership that's going to happen anyways, right? I actually think that they really appreciated that, because a couple mornings later, I woke up to an email with an offer from them. It was a 50-50 split with full promotional coverage. I was really excited. Again, this was an independent label who's worked with an artist who I admire, who I'd seen live. So I felt like, whoa, this is crazy. They see potential in me. Whoa, nuts. So as soon as I saw the email, what did I do? I immediately called my dad, because for every deal that I've gotten, I immediately call my dad. And by the way, I've gotten 2 deals this year so far. Yeah. And I just started doing the record deals too, but two record deals in 1 year, I think that's pretty good, just at least for my standards. And yeah, really, that was the process. Was it worth it? I absolutely think that it was worth it. I mean, the song has over 100,000 streams, and it's only been roughly 6 months since it's come out. I've never had a song get to that level of success. Could I have done it previously on my own without the help of a label to get to 100K streams? Probably. But frankly, having somebody take matters into their own hands is like pretty nice. It's pretty convenient, especially as an independent artist when you're making the music, you're doing the album art, and so on. I also learned a lot. I learned a lot about how a deal is structured, how a label works, and I think that that is definitely worth something. It's interesting to me. It also helped legitimize my music and my project. Believe it or not, getting the deal helped me get gigs. I go in and talk with bar owners and venue managers and say, oh, you know, I have a single out on this label, and I have one coming out in January or February, blah, 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 and it really helps with your brand. I hate to sound superficial, but I found that any leverage really helps, especially as an independent artist. So anyways, that is my story of how I got a record label as an independent artist. I hope you enjoyed it. That said, what have your experiences been with labels? Do you try to get signed? Have you been signed? What's it been like for you? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear. Thanks again for the support. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you really like the content, and go ahead and check out the song. You might as well. It's linked below in the description. Until next time, see y'all soon. Peace.